Hello, everyone, and welcome to I Am Not Okay with Day. I am your host, Day. And today, y'all, I just thought I would talk about something that I've been thinking about. I've been having a lot of conversations about, something that I thought maybe people can relate to. So, some struggles. So that's what we're going to do today. But before we get into it, we're going to talk about something that had me feeling some type of way. And that is allergies, y'all. Let me tell you, it is officially allergy season and I hate it. I hate it here. My body. Can we talk about it? I mean, okay, I know. I have a very complicated relationship with my body for other reasons. But on top of that, can we talk about bodies changing and the fact that separate from like the physical changes, internally, our bodies change. I never had allergies, never. It was totally not something that I had to deal with. And then all of a sudden, a few years ago, my body was like, nope, you can't enjoy being outside. Who do you think you are? You cannot enjoy the springtime. Absolutely not. And, it's been a journey of some days it's terrible, some days it's doable. It's also so unpredictable. But last weekend, y'all, I had the worst allergy attack, okay? Every symptom under the sun attacked me, okay? Runny eyes, runny nose, stuffy at the same time, headache, okay? Just sneezing, just miserable. I was miserable. And let me tell you, when you have allergies, there is something about it that ruins your whole day. Okay. Because it's the physical symptoms. It just gets you in such a terrible mood that it ruins your whole entire day, y'all. I had such a bad day that day because my allergies just did not want me to be great. So I'm just now coming out of that. Okay. If y'all hear me sniffling, just know it's my allergies. Pray for me, please. Okay. Things are finally getting better. But I have a feeling we're still in it. So, hate allergy season. Hate that for me. But yeah, y'all, how be feeling? A lot of things. A lot. Anyway, okay, so let's just dive in, y'all, into what we're going to talk about. And that is dating after divorce. Okay. A lot of this can also apply dating after being in a long-term relationship, but obviously divorce is the perspective that I'm coming from. So that's what I'm going to talk about. So let's first set the stage here, guys. I'm going to be real and say I dipped my toe into the dating world. Okay. And when I say dip my toe, I don't even want to call it dating. You know what I mean? But for the sake of this podcast, that's what I'm going to call it, just because what other word is there? I do not know. But I dipped my toe. Okay. I'm not even talking about a foot. I'm talking just one little toe into the dating world. Okay. And I said unsubscribe. Not for me. I said do not recommend. Okay. I'm kidding, but I'm not. Here's the thing. Okay, let me give, I guess, a little background. And if you've been following me, you already know this. But after I got divorced, I was like, I'm not dating again. I'm not doing this. Why would I hurt myself again? Absolutely not. Why would I put myself in a position to be hurt again? No way. So I was very much, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to focus on myself. I'm going to heal myself. And then, a couple years went by and I was like, you know what? Might not be so bad, but there wasn't anyone around. There were no real prospects or anything. I wasn't putting myself out there to date. It was more I could be open to this at some point in life, but I still have work to do. And so for me, since the divorce, I have been in a place where I'm working on myself, and that's been my main priority. And, my mindset on if I date again has shifted, but it's been pretty much I'd be open. And then, y'all, something very unexpected happened. Someone just popped out of nowhere, okay? And that changed a lot for me. Then I was like, oh, okay. And then that didn't work out. And then that resulted in a lot of things after that. And so I've been having these conversations with a friend who's also divorced. And I just thought I would talk about, what that process has been like for me, what I've learned along the way, and maybe, some little tips and tricks. I mean, listen, don't listen to me. Don't take what I say with a grain of salt in that I'm not an expert. Okay, I'm not an expert at all because like I said, I just like dipped my toe in. Okay? But here's the thing. Here's a few things I learned. One, it might not be as hard as you think. When I first came out of it, I was divorced when everything ended and everything. I was initially like, there's no way I can do this again because how will I trust another man again? How will I like trust what they say? How will I get to this point where I can be vulnerable again with another man? Like, there's no way. And let me tell you, it was a lot easier than I thought it would be. And this is not everybody's experience. This is my experience that I'm talking about. But I just want to say that for somebody who might be struggling and wondering, oh my gosh, it's going to be too hard to go there, it really may not. Now, it might too. Who knows? But I think for me, it also really depended on the person, and the person was a really safe person that made me feel, seen and understood and not judged or anything like that. So it was easy, honestly. Not just easier than I thought it would be, but it was so easy to open up, to be vulnerable, and to let this person in. A little too easy. Which, may be part of the problem. I don't know. But it may not be as bad as you think. And so be open. If you've decided like, hey, I think I'm ready for this, be open to what might come up because you just never know. My experience it was a pleasant experience. As far as, getting to know another person and, that in the beginning, like excitement and everything like that, like it was cool. I enjoyed that part of it. And even again, like going to a deeper place with somebody and being vulnerable, it was not a bad experience for me, which I'm grateful for in that I now know that, the time comes again, it may not be as hard. I mean, I've since it didn't work out, I mean, I think that there's also more hesitation, but something else that I've realized is like, just because I was divorced and that didn't work out, my marriage didn't work out, and then this other thing didn't work out, like I don't want to deny myself of a love that I think I ultimately deserve, because I'm afraid. I don't want to do that. Yeah, I'm terrified of getting hurt again. And I'm not in a place at this current time where I'm ready to get hurt again, truly. I feel a little fragile and a little, maybe not even fragile is not the word. I feel protective of my heart. Let me say that. And I do not want to just put it in any old place. And so I'm very much okay with keeping it to myself right now. But I also want to be open and to give myself the chance if something ever comes up, because I think I deserve that, And that's what I want to tell you too. If you are in this position, give yourself a chance, be open to whatever the possibility might be, and know that, your worth doesn't need to be tied up in this, which is a hard lesson I learned. I learned it the hard way. That's the other thing. I mean, child, when that thing did not work out the second time, when I met this other person and it didn't work out, oh my goodness, all the triggers from my divorce, all of the abandonment fears, all the abandonment issues, all of the self-worth things, all of those things came up because, it's like you go, at least for me, this is my experience. I went through this marriage with somebody who really wasn't the greatest, So frankly, it didn't take me a long time to get over him as a person. But this other person was great. Like there was He was a great guy. You know, there was not like the same level of the feelings I had for my ex-husband were not the same that I had for this person because they were very different people, and it didn't end like terribly or anything like that. So it was just more, you know, man, this was a really great person and this really could have been something good. But it didn't work out. And I was really attaching my worth to the fact that it didn't work out. Like, it must be me. It must be, you know, because of my baggage or whatever it was, which is just not true. And I mean, I talked about the shame that I've been holding, you know, for many years, and it definitely played a part here. But what I've learned as I've continued to do my work is that my work is just not tied up in any other human being. It's just not. And I want to tell you that too. If that's where you're at, know that even if every single person has left you, because guys, can we talk about this? That I literally said this to a few days ago in reflecting, like, when I really think about it, child, I've been left by every man I've ever loved. Can we talk about it? And it's easy. It would be easy for me to say, damn, must be something that I did, you know, must be me. The fact that every man I've ever loved said bye. But no, I'm not doing that, because when I look back at each of those relationships, what I can identify is the reason why none of those worked out. And I don't think any of those honestly had to do with me. So no. But you know, when you've been left multiple times, your brain has a way, especially if it was traumatizing, which, you know, the divorce for me was very traumatizing. Your brain has a way of telling you lies. And I think this is something that can happen when we get into the dating world. It's like you believe the lies. You believe that you're only worth something unless somebody is giving you attention and unless somebody likes you. And, you know, even the other day, like, I was talking to somebody and she was telling me, you know, she had just ended a relationship she got broken up with, and she was like, yeah, I went on the dating apps just to, you know, see if I still got it. And it's like there is this need for validation from others, external validation. Because it's like there's something that hits, I guess maybe it's the ego, or just it hits you like, man, is something wrong with me when this seems to be happening all the time? And no. There's nothing wrong with you. That's what I want to say to you, as much as I'm saying it to myself. Now, here's the thing. Is there space for you to reflect on your actions while you were in the relationships? Yes. And that's something I have done and that I will always do, because I mean, I'm a naturally self-reflective person anyway, but I don't want to just go in there and be like, yeah, I was perfect and that person sucked, because that's just not the truth all the time. But so I think that there is a need to look within, but not to the extent where you deem yourself not enough or not worthy because some person is not reciprocating the feelings that you have for them. No. I know that might be hard to hear, you know, because that was hard for me to hear when I was going through the thick of it, truly. But I've now I'm trying to come to terms with this, and I'm, you know, telling myself this on a regular basis, like, I am enough, I am worthy, and my worth is not tied to any human. It's just not. And that's something I had to constantly remind myself going through the process of, like, putting myself out there again, you know? And let me tell you, I barely put myself out there. So again, I dipped my toe in, y'all. But this is something I think we have to face if we're about to go into this space after, especially a marriage that didn't work out, because there's so much tied up there, depending on also on how long you were married and what that relationship was like. I mean, it's just so much, you know. Child, the other thing I learned is that you're going to get triggered, okay? It's going to happen, and it's okay. Let me tell you that, like I said, moving on to like with another person was a lot easier. It was easy for me, truly. The process of it was great. No issues. Like I thoroughly enjoyed just like the getting to know the person and all that stuff. But the end part for me and well before that, and the process itself was not triggering for me. Like I didn't get triggered by, things he would say or do, like none of those things. The end though triggered me a lot. Okay. I mean that it brought up just everything from my divorce, the fears of abandonment and feeling abandoned, and again like the self-worth stuff. It just brought up all these different things that I didn't even realize, things that I didn't even work on in therapy and realize was an issue until the end. And I think whether it's at the end of something or during it, you're going to get triggered after the end of a marriage. You just are, because you are putting yourself in a situation that reflects another situation you were in before that was painful. And so I think it's natural for stuff to come up. It is natural for you to feel, afraid or worried, or to be reminded of something and, maybe fall back into old relational patterns, especially if you haven't worked through some things, And I think it's okay, because I don't think that we need to go into relationships perfectly. At least not today. If you asked me a couple years ago, yeah, I thought I want to be healed before I get into another relationship, which I just don't think is possible or realistic. And the truth of the matter is, like, when I started with this other guy, I was so different. I mean, this was years after my divorce. And I mean, even today, I am such a different person than I was in my marriage. I mean, I'm a lot more communicative, a lot more just emotional, like in tune with my emotions, a lot more vulnerable. And that is not what I was while I was married. And so, I remember even having conversations about, okay, what will I be like in a relationship? And I had to say, I don't know, because I'm not that person. So I don't know what I'm going to be like when I'm in this situation. And so when you're in a situation like this and, you're in the same situation that brought to you pain before, yeah, you're going to be triggered. Things are going to come up. I'm sure that if it got to the point of relationship, things may have come up for me that I didn't even realize. And I believe that there are certain things you're just not going to realize and know is an issue until you're in a relationship. Like, you can do all of the self-work you want. Okay, you can do all of the healing and the personal work that you want to do right now, but until you get into a relationship, there are certain things that you can't work on by yourself, and you're never going to realize by yourself. And that is something I'm starting to embrace, because I always had this feeling like I don't want to come into another relationship or marriage, if it ends in there, with all the baggage from my last, because that's not fair to this new person, right? But all the stuff that have happened in my previous marriage played a role in the person that I am today. And so me thinking I can just come into a new relationship and not have any of these things affect is not realistic, And so I just want to say that too, like, this is going to happen and it's okay. It doesn't mean that you're doomed. It doesn't mean that the relationship that you have then are doomed to fail. I think you can use this as an opportunity to gather information and to reflect, okay, are you ready? Are there things that you can work on while in this relationship with your partner that's not going to be damaging to your partner? Are these things you need to work on your own? I think there are different ways to deal with this and to address it. And it doesn't have to mean you're doomed forever, you're about to be single forever. No. But I think be gracious with yourself, and hopefully you have a partner also that is gracious with you, because you're navigating something that frankly was painful before, and that takes a lot of courage. It is so brave of you to step out into something, make a choice that could potentially hurt you, truly. And so even the fact that you're doing this, I mean, congrats to you, okay? But give yourself some grace, which is another thing. Like, you're gonna make mistakes, you might hurt the person. This is another thing in relationships in general. I'm a strong believer that in a relationship, an intimate, close relationship, but especially in a marriage, that person is a mirror. It is like they're holding a mirror to all of your insecurities and everything, all of your problems, everything that is an issue is going to come up in relationships, in close, intimate relationships, because that's like probably the closest you can be to a person. And that's okay. That's not a problem. In fact, I think that's really beautiful. I think it can be very beautiful. Just the idea that, yeah, I could have this closeness, but also it's going to show me things that I probably don't want to see, but it's an opportunity to grow. So look at things like that as an opportunity to grow instead of like guilting and shaming yourself, because that's not helpful. That never helped anybody. And, they say shaming yourself into change is not sustainable. You cannot maintain that. So don't do that. Give yourself some grace. The other thing is, there's a possibility that you could get hurt, and that's obvious, but there's also a possibility that it could be beautiful, that you could experience something you never experienced before, and that it can actually be a really good experience, and even if it doesn't work out, right? Because child, let me tell you that I was of the belief that, the next person I date, they're about to be my husband. That didn't happen. But that's okay, because I have gathered more information about myself, about what I want actually, and what I need. And now I know for the future what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to need, what I'm going to handle versus not handle. And I wouldn't have had that information without that experience. And so, approach it like that too, where it can still be a good thing. You can still have a good time. You can still have these connections. And it didn't have to be, this like terrible thing. And I mean, okay, I am saying this after, going through really terrible times. Because let's be real here, y'all. Like I said, I was very much triggered at the end of this whole thing, and it was hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I had a difficult time coming to terms with things, but I'm now in a place where I'm like, I can appreciate it for what it was, and I can also take the lessons I've learned and move on, And so, yeah, I think being open to, again, like the experience of it. And let me tell y'all, okay, I met my ex-husband in college when I was 18 years old, and then we got married. So like, I didn't have a lot of experience with like even dating, in general, like dating around, like I didn't do that. And child, am I trying to do that? No. Okay. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to date around. Like dating to me is not this fun activity, but you know what? For some people it is. And if it is that for you, if you are enjoying that, like getting to know people in that kind of way, seeing what you like go ahead and do that. Enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it like me, that's okay too, But the point is, I think it's okay to have different experiences and not put like so much weight onto the next person that you meet, because there's a lot of pressure, and it's probably not always going to end in marriage. And that's okay. That sucks sometimes, but it's also okay. Take it for what it is and move on. So, yeah. I guess these are some things that I learned that I wanted to share with y'all, and, have hope. Y'all, don't give up the hope. Okay, let me tell you that I've definitely wanted to give up hope many times. And, I currently am at this place where I don't know if I'm ready to go there again, because it's going to have to really be worth it for me to go there again. Let's just say that. But I am hopeful that if the Lord has someone for me, I will have that person. And I'm also trusting in the Lord's timing, for my life, and that, now is not the time, but whenever the time does come, I am hopeful that it will happen. But I'm also not holding my breath. I'm not like gonna put a hold on my life and, not do certain experiences or things because I'm waiting for my next husband to come around. No. I'm gonna live my life. I'm gonna enjoy it as much as I possibly can. I'm going to live as fully and presently and mindfully as I can. And if it happens, great. And if it doesn't, great. That is really the place I'm trying to be at, and let me tell you, does this mean that I'll never be lonely again? No. I mean, I be getting lonely sometimes. Sometimes I really wish I had a partner. And it'd be hard. But then sometimes I'm very grateful that I'm single. And I'm so grateful that I don't have to be responsible for any other human and think about any other human in that way. But the point is, I want to be content with where I'm at. And I think two things can be true at the same time. That's another thing I've been seeing, people talking about, oh, you just need to love yourself and then you're going to find somebody. And I'm not of that belief. No, because you can love yourself wholeheartedly and someone still may not come around, because I don't think that's how this works. But I am a believer in just being content with your life period and finding intentionally being content with your life. I want for myself to enjoy it. I don't want to wait around for something to be happy. No, I'm going to be happy today. Okay? So that's what I want to say to you. If you're ready to date, if you're ready to go into this phase, but you're also, hesitant, or maybe you're really lonely and you're desperate for this, just know that a relationship is also not going to solve your problems. Okay? It is not. I guarantee you. And I want to encourage you to find some contentment in your life as it is. If nothing ever changes, can you be content with where you're at? Why not? If you don't know, maybe ask yourself that question and then figure that out. But anyway, that's it, y'all, for that. But let's close out with what God has taught me. So actually, I've been doing this devotional and I was reading it, and it was talking a lot about, I guess, the differences with God and humans. And sometimes how we place human characteristics on God unfairly when he's just not like us. And I think that's the thing I'm really not just learning, but also trying to internalize. God is not like humans. He is not. And thank God. Okay. I'm so glad he's not, because oh my goodness, if he was, God is not going to abandon me, which, is kind of along the lines of what we're talking about, but he's also not going to, he's consistent. He's going to be consistent. He will never fail me. He will be there no matter what. And these are the things I'm holding on to, especially in those moments of loneliness, those moments of sadness, when it just be hard, I'm holding on to the Lord and what he gives to me right now. And I just encourage you to do the same, to remember that he's none of those things. He's not like us. And you know what? If it is that you're feeling that way and you're having these questions, go to him about that, because I think he will reveal to you who he really is. That's something also that's been, happening in my own spiritual journey, where God has been truly revealing his character to me. And I've been able to separate him from humans for that very reason, because I know who he is, and it's not at all like how we are, So Just wanted to share that with y'all. Thank you once again for listening to this episode. Appreciate y'all. Until next time. Bye.